Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang, and welcome to this broadcast. The broadcast today is focusing on emotional health in the context of whole person health. That's health of body, mind, and spirit. So, what does emotional health have to do with being healthy in the physical and in the spiritual area? Well, that's the thing we want to focus on. And I've been talking about mercy and how it is such a powerful force in our lives when we are extending it to other people. But this week I'm focusing on how we can extend mercy to ourselves. Now, this is a bit of a foreign concept because we don't often see ourselves in relationship to ourselves, but it helps to kind of take a step back and pretend that we are treating ourselves almost as a separate person, because literally we do treat ourselves either good or bad. And so the focus today is on trying to imagine what a merciful response to yourself would be in relationship to emotional health. Now, I'm going to use the same scenario that I did in the most previous broadcast, which is that you're responsible for this person who is in a jail cell in your home. And this person looks remarkably like you. You're completely responsible for what they get to do. Now, previously we talked about the physical elements of your responsibility for that person, making sure they had the right food, making sure they got the exercise. Today I want to focus on making sure that this person has the right kind of things that allow good emotional health. So there's 5 major areas that I think really bring a person into higher levels of emotional health or better emotional health. And let's imagine that you get to decide that this person in this cell, whether they get to interact with any family members today. And do they get to interact in a way that's just very superficial, or do they get the opportunity to have a deep interaction with one family member that really makes them feel happier inside? You get to decide that, and are you going to let that happen? And then the second decision that you get to make is, does this person who is in this little jail cell have the opportunity to talk to a friend and share what's going on in their life in a deep way? Are you going to give permission? Are you going to encourage them to do that? Now, there's 3 other areas that would go along those lines, but we're not going to focus on those. I'm going to focus on just these first 2. If you decide that you give permission for this person who's in this jail cell to have a meaningful interaction with a family member, that's an act of mercy. Same thing if you give them a chance to interact with a friend in a meaningful way, where they're sharing some of the deep hurts, and you make it available. You make it happen. That's an act of mercy. In the same way, I encourage you to treat yourself as if you're that person that's in that jail cell, because you are. We create the environment that traps us into certain things that are going on in our life, and the longer we go down our life, the more we are, in a sense, trapped by the circumstances that we've created. Now, we may not see actual jail cell bars, but we are in a place of our own making, and we get to decide what comes into that space. So we have to intentionally make it happen, or it won't happen. And so this intention is, I intend to allow me to have a close personal interaction with a family member this week, and I encourage it. I want to make it happen. I'm facilitating that it happens. So if I'm working with myself, in a sense, I make myself do it, in a sense. I talk to myself. Talk encourages me in that direction. That's an act of mercy towards myself. Same thing with if I help myself have a closer talk with a close friend. That's an act of mercy towards myself. So often we don't do these things because deep down we don't believe we deserve them, but we do deserve them. And as we talked about before, God is the source of mercy. He's always giving his love to us. He's always reaching out in a merciful way, and he wants that love to pass not just through us, but to touch us as it's going through us to other people. And these strategies of extending a close interaction with a family member, close interaction with a friend, this is an act of loving yourself. And if you do this every day, it has a very powerful effect on chronic stress reduction. And as we talked about yesterday, this has a profound effect on most chronic diseases. And I talked about high blood pressure as an example. When you decrease chronic stress, your blood pressure drops down. If you have high blood pressure, your blood pressure will be lower when you decrease the chronic stress in your life. So I encourage you to act mercifully toward yourself in this emotional sphere. And acting mercifully toward yourself means making the space available for you to have these interactions with family members every day that build you up and build them up. Something meaningful, not something that's very superficial. Same thing with a friend. And I encourage you to do this every day. Make it a discipline, and it will be a disciplined act of love that is actually like you are extending mercy to yourself. So I wish you well. God bless and have a great day.